Today could very easily, possibly, potentially, we'll see what happens, end up being the last snow day of the year. We'll see. Pennsatucky Phil did see his shadow, which does mean 6 more weeks of winter. I just didn't know that Minnesota would take it so literally, because typically what Minnesota likes to do is come end of January, February, March, it just likes being bone-stakingly cold. It hasn't really done that this year. January, we definitely had a deep freeze. Definitely some -20 temps. But this year, surprisingly, has been heavy on the snow department, which I personally love. Like snowy, but not too cold. And for me personally, not too cold is like, if it doesn't drop below 0, that's a pretty mild winter. They're like saying, potentially predicting that there's going to be huge snowfall today and into tomorrow. And I'm sitting here going, watch, we're going to get like a light dusting and nothing. Because I feel like every time they say we're going to get a huge snowfall, we don't get anything. But when they're like, oh yeah, we might get snow, that's when we get dumped on. So we'll see what happens. But welcome to my snow day vlog. Let's go pick out some books to read. So one thing I'm actually really excited about is just grabbing books that are catching my eye, because let's be real, I'm reading for like a dozen other videos all at once. I don't know, I've just been like staring at my bookshelves lately going like, oh, that one catches my eye, or oh, that one catches my eye, or oh, that one catches my eye. So honestly, I'm just gonna grab all the books that are currently like, Kayla, and we're gonna throw them on the spinning wheel of chaos, and we'll just see what we read, because these are all going to be books that I really want to read, and whatever we get, we get. First and foremost, I literally looked up, and the Deathless one by Hamm. No idea what the book is about, but the cover is absolutely stunning, so that's going on the list. I really want to pick Battle Royale. I want to pick this so badly, but as you can see, this is a chonker of a book, and ideally I do want to read a couple books in this video. I know if I pick this, I'm only reading this. Omniscient Reader's Viewpoint. This is a light novel. I originally saw the manga. The story sounded interesting, but I didn't love the art style. And for me, I really have to like the art style to read a manga. But when I saw it came in a light novel, I was like, perfect. I actually do need to read this one. Julie Chan is Dead is a book that I have to read for book club, which we are going to be talking about this book in literally 2 weeks. So I'm going to add this to the lineup just because I know I have to read it, but it's not for a video, it's for my book club. Inferno's Error by Tiffany Wang could possibly get added. Not that one. I started Horror Store. I did stop it on chapter 2, not because I wasn't enjoying it, but because at the time I was going to try and read it for a video. But honestly, I think I just want to read it just because. Adding this to the list because I was really enjoying that. This is technically slotted for a video, but we're adding it to the list. Just came out. So excited for it. Also, look how chonky that is. Look how chonky that is. For comparison, if you don't know anything about Uketsu's books, look how thick those are compared to that. It's like twice the size. Oh my god. I'm very excited to read this though. I have really been eyeballing this book a lot lately, but I also want to read this for a video for Halloween time. Did you guys know that the movie The Ring was based on a book by Koji Suzuki? I really want to read it. Also, just cause for shits and gigs, I bought S. That cover is so horrifyingly disturbing, but I love it so much. It is also a part of the Ring series. Did you know? It's a whole series. This, I think, is actually the 3rd book in the series. I didn't realize that until I got home and I was reading the back of it, and I was like, oh, but it is slotted for a video. And I will hold true because it's actually a video concept I'm really excited about. Operation Bounce House, which I'm kind of excited about, so we'll add that to the list. Let's add one more. Where is it? I know what book I'm looking for. I just don't know where it is. Where are you hiding? We have The Labyrinth House Murders. We got our lineup. I'm gonna make my spinning wheel of chaos and we'll figure out what we're reading. I'm gonna go finish making breakfast because I today found this bacon, hot honey bacon. First off, it smelled so good when I was taking it out of the packaging, and that's it raw. I'm gonna make some breakfast sandwich on a croissant. So let's make that, and then we will pick our book. As I was eating my breakfast sandwich I'm not gonna lie, was a little plain, but mostly because I wasn't sure what would work well with the bacon. Bacon was really good. It had just like a nice hint of spice to it. Nothing honestly spicy about it. You just had like kind of like a little bit of the heat on the palate. Anyways, as I was making my spinner wheel for this, I did decide to add Death Note Volume 1 to the lineup because I have had this book for maybe 3 years now at this point, so I have been wanting to read it. Easier read than all of the other books. We have our spinning wheel of chaos all set and ready, so let's see what we are reading first. The Deathless one by Emma Hamm. Okay, all right. Okay, I'm down with that. Again, I have no idea what this is about, so let's find out together, shall we? The Deathless one by Emma Hamm. Her death is just the beginning. Cover is the whole reason I purchased this book. Let's see what it's about. Jessamine was raised to be a leader for her people, but when the land is overrun by an incurable plague, she must enter a political marriage to save them all. A union meant to raise hope brings only death as her new husband murders her at the wedding altar and seizes the throne. Bitch. Jessamine's spirit is met by the Deathless one, a god of death yearning to return to the mortal plane, and he needs her help. The two of them make a deal, her life and the return of her kingdom in exchange for his resurrection. But this god is a known trickster, and bargains with him are sealed in blood. Jessamine knows the Deathless one is a dangerous ally, but the longer they work together, the more she is drawn to him. As their connection deepens, she begins to wonder if the more appealing throne is the one by his side. But will she turn her back on her people to get it? What do we think, Echo? Oh, you're sleeping. Oh, sorry. I didn't realize you were actually sleeping. Do you want to tell the people anything? Yeah. Are you ready for the snow? You love snow. I was giving them bets. I said, hey, girls, I'll give you a treat. Because I bet what's going to happen today is we're not going to get any snow. And if we do get snow, it's going to be like a light dusting of snow. Because if we do get a lot of snow, I'll go on like a cute little winter walk tomorrow. Because I am supposed to actually start a training program tomorrow. But it's a running program. Needless to say, I'm not going to be running out in potentially 18 inches of snow. I wanted to show you guys what it looks like currently without the snow. So here's a park. minimal to like, that's just frozen ice. This is what we are currently working with. And I have my 2 hooligans with me. Jinx has been the little demon child on this walk so far. This is what we're currently working with. It is flurrying right now. I doubt you guys can see it. It's like a flurry every 30 seconds. I am intrigued to see if we'll actually get substantial snow and how much substantial snow. So. I am about a third of the way through the Deathless one, and I'm not gonna lie. It's kind of one of those books that is no thoughts, brain empty kind of books. But not in a bad way. Not in a bad way. I feel like that could have been taken in a bad way. There's a lot happening and nothing happening all at once. I would quite honestly say chapter 1 was the most action-packed scene we've had thus far. Everything else really feels like we're just sitting in a closed room. It's not like we're in the same location every single chapter, but it feels like we're in a closed room, if that makes any sort of sense. Whereas chapter 1, we had like the most movement because chapter 1 was literally pretty much the synopsis of it's her wedding day. So she starts out in her like little, she has a laboratory. Okay. She's a little scientist. So we start out in her little laboratory. Then we walk the hallways to the atrium where she's getting married. Not even atrium. It's more of like a grand balcony that overlooks the ocean. Then all of a sudden, things go south real quick, real fast. Everyone dies. She dies. But as we all know, she's brought back to life by the Deathless one, who is a once fallen god. So he's kind of been interesting. He actually has, like, honestly, in my personal opinion, his backstory and we do have chapters specifically around our girl Jasmine. And then we have chapters specifically around the Deathless one, who I do what I always do, flipping through, seeing what's kind of going on. He does have a name. I don't remember what his name is, but we will learn his name eventually. But we kind of learn more about his backstory as like the chapters go on. And it's kind of been fun learning more about him because while he is a god, the gods in this world are all dead, except for him. Supposedly they're all dead. Who knows? Maybe they'll come back. What the gods used to do is they would give pieces of their magic to their believers. And so it was like a revolving door, so to speak. However, he was one of the gods he was the god that gave most of his magic to his believers, and his believers in particular were all witches or grave singers. Grave singers are like a step above witches. He would literally give his entirety to them, so much to the point where what ended up happening is that the witches were trying to cure the plague that hit the world, and it's not funny. they pretty much like tortured him to get every ounce of magic, and they were the ones who apparently ended up killing him, even though obviously he's not dead. He's just kind of in this weird underworld situation that he can't leave. Like, he can't become a corporeal being unless someone resurrects him, which is where our girl Jasmine comes into play. I really like his backstory. As far as I know, a duology. I don't know if it's a trilogy or a longer series. But there is a second book in this, and I think this book is predominantly going to be about Jasmine figuring out how to resurrect the Deathless one. And then I think book 2 is going to be them taking back her kingdom. One of kind of like the interesting backstories about him, he's kind of like recounting what he misses about being a human. He's thinking to himself how he's trying to remember like what it felt like to lay on the ground and like the smell of fresh green grass and the sunlight dappling through leaves, and how he loved just like staring up at the stars, and that he could literally just lay there all the time staring at the stars, but then the sun would come in and ruin it. But then even that, he loved to just stare at the sun until his vision was dotted with sunspots. And I'm just like, oh, yes. Yes. So there's one point in the book where Jasmine asks him, why do you want to be resurrected so badly? Like, what is the purpose of it? Why do you want to be a corporeal being? Pretty much, she doesn't say that. I'm using the term corporeal being. That has never been used in this book. He pretty much tells her exactly that. I want to lay on the ground surrounded by green grass and stare at the sunlight dappling through the leaves. She's like, you don't miss the touch of a woman or a man, whatever your preference. And he's like, no, not at all. While he did have a love, that love betrayed him. All I know of touches were torture and betrayal. And he's like, why would I want to come back for that? Which a part of me is like, okay, he's sassy, snarky, because he's making all like these advances, one would say, but like we kind of do get these moments of him really like reeling at the idea of like what it felt like to be tortured. He starts out talking about how they ripped out his intestines and cut him limb from limb, and it was just like kind of gruesome, not gonna lie. There have been a couple times where he's just like, ugh, why would I ever want anyone to touch me? I'm really digging his storyline. Jasmine, like, she's interesting, but it's actually, she did just have a really good chapter where she's like, I thought I had power, because she was a princess, right? She thought she had power, but now she's kind of like second guessing herself, because there's a witch in this book, her name's Sybil, and her and Sybil were talking. Jasmine asked Sybil, she was like, why do you like magic? And Sybil said, because of the power it gives me. And Jasmine said, I thought I used to have power as a princess, but maybe I never did. She's kind of having these self-realizations that her entire life has been so sheltered. She really doesn't know anything about the real world. There was one scene where she was talking to Deathless One, and she's like, I've never picked out clothes for myself. People have always dressed me. He's like, well, let's pick out some clothes. And so they spend an entire evening of her just trying to find clothes that she likes. Like, what does she actually want? What does she actually like? And then right after that scene, we had the scene with Sybil where she's starting to realize, she's like, oh my God, my entire life I've been told how to eat, what to do, what to wear. And she's like, I've never been my own person. So this is where Sybil says, because it gives me power. I had power as a princess. It wasn't all that great. It got me killed. And then Sybil says, we're women. We all need whatever power we can eke out of this universe. And then Jasmine says, I guess I don't know what you mean. How many women have you met who are convinced they're on the brink of madness? They've been told countless times to bury everything they are, their emotions, their hopes and dreams, their anger, all of it shoved so deep down that they cannot even think or breathe through the pain of hiding it in. But not us, not a witch. A witch is everything they tell us not to be. We are chaos and blood, wetness and rage, howling at the moon that we will not be silenced or forgotten. We are everything they fear and covet. Yes, it's so good. And then the book actually starts out with a little dedication. And it says, for all the women who descended from witches who were burned, they weren't witches, they were women. And that rage is something none of us have forgotten. So I loved how like the dedication and also this moment with Sybil kind of like intertwine themselves. And I'm intrigued to see if we have any more powerful moments like that. I'm making pizza and it's ready to be taken out, so let's go eat. Ooh, that wind. Okay. Is that better? Oh yeah, that was perfect. Oh. There you go. Did I put my ginger ale in the fridge? I did put my ginger ale in the fridge. Okay, I have to charge my camera for a little bit. I'm gonna read a little bit. I'm gonna eat a little bit. Maybe watch a YouTube video or two. I don't know. But I will see you guys a little later on tonight. Also, I forgot to mention, it has started snowing. Right now, it's like a really light dusting, but the forecast does say that we are supposed to be getting pretty much snow nonstop. And I will say it has been flurrying nonstop for at least the past hour. Listen, I'm the type of person to acknowledge when I am wrong. Yeah, this is more than just a light dusting of snow. It is a little chilly out right now, but honestly, all things considered, what I like to tell everyone is that if it is snowing, it needs to be somewhat warm. Obviously warm is different for everyone, but I would say 30 degrees is warm. It's hard to really tell how much snow has actually accumulated just by looking at it. Last night in particular, there were some pretty gnarly high winds that create snow drifts. So there's some sections where the snow is like up to, I would say, just under my knee, 2 feet roughly. Then there's some sections where like you can literally see the grass. I don't know, maybe I'll check the news later to see how much snow exactly we've gotten. I would say a good estimate would be maybe like 8-10 inches. I wish I had a backyard though currently, because the girls love playing in the snow so much. It's literally one of their favorite things to do. Last night, I did not continue on with the Deathless one. I may have taken a little break, watched some YouTube videos, specifically watched a bunch of Dr. Mike videos. I used to follow Dr. Mike on Instagram back in the day when like he was first popping off. I found another dude, his name is Mello. He does movie reactions, very entertaining movie reactions. Yeah, woke up this morning to some fresh powder. And now I'm gonna go home, make some breakfast, and I'm gonna make some corned beef. I don't know, just a pot of corned beef sounds perfect today. It's starting to get cold. I can feel it sinking in. So I'm gonna walk home, warm myself up, and have a cup of coffee and yeah, eat some breakfast. Y'all, these cinnamon rolls are so good. I tried a new way of making them. They're literally just like the canned Pillsbury cinnamon rolls. But what I did was you guys saw, a butter and brown sugar base, put the cinnamon rolls in, then dumped some heavy whipping cream on top. I can't make cinnamon rolls not like this ever again. Okay, before I just inhale this entire cinnamon roll, I finished the Deathless one. I'm obsessed. I have already ordered the second one. It should be arriving later this week. I don't think it's a 5-star because, as I was noting earlier, it was very slow, which ultimately I didn't hate, because while the plot line itself was very slow, I almost liked how realistic it was. And then also it didn't feel rushed at any point. But I feel like nowadays we have so many books that just like try and smash as much ridiculousness as possible into 300 pages, that reading a book that is 300 pages and really like takes its time with characters and storyline and all that jazz, like, it's rare. I'm intrigued to see kind of how Jessamine's character development is going to be in the second book, because we had a big event happen at the very end, and you could slowly see her personality shift throughout, I would say, like the second half of the book. And not in the sense of like she's becoming a completely different person, but she's just kind of like finding herself. But what happened at like the very end of the book, you could definitely tell like there's a slight darker, more twisted personality shift there, which kind of makes sense for what ended up happening. I am intrigued to see kind of like how things go in the second book. And as I noted, this book was literally all about Jessamine kind of like learning her abilities and learning how to resurrect Elric, which is the Deathless one's name. I thought this was going to be a hot, steamy, spicy book. I mean, it did have its moments, but it wasn't. I would say that Elric was definitely, a little. The man hasn't interacted with someone for 275 years, okay? I think he was just being overly boisterous and flirtatious, but nothing ever really happened between the two of them unless Jessamine made a move. So it was like this weird slow burn, but it's like a spicy slow burn. I feel like anytime I read a spicy book, it's just like, oh, they're 2 pages in and we're already boinking. Oh, okay. I feel like I don't really have much more to say about this book. I really enjoyed it. You saw my star rating. I'm excited to see what happens in the second one.
My Red Bull.
This isn't your Red Bull.
It's been in there too long.
Some of us don't inhale our drinks.
It's been in there over a week.
How about those high nooners? Those have been over there for a month.
Trade 1 for 1.
No, I'd rather buy Red Bull. It is the next day. I had actually filmed an outro yesterday evening, but for some reason, my face decided that it wanted to be red, puffy, inflamed. I have a hunch I know what caused it, and I threw what caused it potentially away. I was looking rough, real rough. We all know I show up here pretty much as my genuine self all the time. Sans makeup, 99.9% of the time. That was a little too intimate. You guys don't need to see puffy, inflamed face Kayla. But yesterday I did end my day by watching just random YouTube videos. Anyways, that's all I really have for you guys. Thank you so much for enjoying this snow day with me. The snow is definitely here to stay for at least the rest of this week, because it is supposed to be bone-chillingly cold, at least today and tomorrow for sure. And then apparently we're getting some more snow tomorrow. We'll see. I have a hunch we probably won't. And then the rest of the week, it should slowly start to get warmer, but I'm not keeping my hopes up that it's going to get warm enough to melt the snow. That's all I got. Thank you again so much for hanging out with me this weekend, and I'll see you in the next video.